over or a cycle starting or something like that. I think that's a much more accurate way to manage portfolios than trying to aim for a price. So when we see things like this, we have to consider the Doge price. And this is something that I wanted to show you because Doge right now, whilst it's had this massive move up right now, it's starting to form this formation here. Now, this formation is a rising bearish wedge. So it's actually a bearish formation. And what that could mean, if this continues to create this formation, people are saying it's consolidating. I personally don't believe it's consolidating. I think it's in this rising bearish wedge, which means that what will follow through by the time, it's done what it needs to do in this wedge here, it is likely that it breaks down from the wedge. Now, if we get all of that, that's actually going to be your opportunity to buy. And so the reason that I have my eye on this is because I accidentally sold all my Doge, as you guys know. So I kind of need an entry myself. But if this does play out this way, we know the things that we're looking for. We've got the rising open interest. We've got the overheated funding rates. We're expecting that eventually there will be a correction. And so if that correction leads to this formation actually playing out, we could end up having a pretty decent retracement on Doge and having a good chance to get in on it, which I would take as a spot trade or an extremely low leverage long-term trade. Being the daily time frame, I'm not looking to short-term trade Doge. So let me just add this heat map to see if we have high liquidity below price, because that's going to give us an idea where to look out for potential targets if we do get it. Now, immediately what stands out to me is this area right here. I'm probably going to say around here would be my ideal area of interest. And the reason is, where is that? That is between 0.32 to 0.35347, let's say. And the reason for that is because by the time all of this plays out, if it does play out, then the 50 EMA, which is this blue one, will start to flatten out like this as well. So that could actually end up being a very good entry where we break down, we wipe out this highest level of leverage here that you can see in yellow, we line up with a 50 EMA. If we get a strong bounce there, that could be, all we do. Now, what would that actually be in terms of percentage? That would be a 28% drop. Great. So that's what I would personally keep my eyes on. It's not an automatic buy from me. I have to wait, to see if price actually does enter that zone. Then I will reassess the price action. I will make sure that I'm seeing a bounce. I'm seeing some buyer strength come in at that level. And then that's when I would take action on that one. Now, the last thing I want to show you, is it the last thing? Yes, it's the last thing I want to show you before I potentially have a look at some of your requests, if you happen to have any, is I want to just quickly go through the dominances, because we know that we've got that those funding rates overheating, and the other thing, what's the other thing? The open interest. Smash a like button if you like how I always lose my train of thought. But here we go with the Bitcoin dominance. We were hoping that we were going to get lower height. It's not too late. It's not too late. But it also may not happen, because if you have a look back at last cycles, and I might show you this on another video because I haven't prepped the information. But if you have a look at past cycles, once alt season starts, the Bitcoin dominance just tends to dive. It just tends to go down, and it just keeps going down. So we may not necessarily get a nice change in market structure to give us a good hint that things have changed. So it may just keep going from here, but what we do have currently is a little bit of a bounce happening as Bitcoin breaks 100K. That is natural. So we really just want to see where this bounce ends up taking us. And this bounce may cause your altcoins again to pull back soon, which will just reset everything. So it's all actually great news if it does happen. and I'm really not too worried about it. But yeah, keep an eye on your Bitcoin dominance in case it keeps rising. The USDT dominance is breaking support just. So this is fantastic because it shows us that we're not moving into stablecoin, right? So we're not risk off. We're happy to be risk on right now. Everybody's FOMOing into the market. So great. Let the USD dominance continue to break support after support. That is fantastic for crypto in general. And then when we have a look here at the total, excluding the top 10, we're still waiting to see now if we get this resistance retest. So again, all of this is on the daily time frame, so it may take time. And if it does actually happen, guys, it could turn out that it's a possible couple of week pullback as well. That's another thing I want to make you aware of. I don't think you would have to rush in to buy dips. I don't. And if my mind changes on that, of course I will tell you. But just the very fact that everything I'm showing you is on the daily time frame, you then have to start to think, well, how long is it going to take? Because every day is only one candle. So, you know, if one candle was to come down to retest, that's actually pretty scary because you would then need to wait for consolidation, which could then take a week or two anyway. Or we trickle down, which again, you need what, 14 candles to trickle down. So yeah, it could be a couple week thing. And I don't think that we're going to have to rush to do buys. Now, just know that a leverage wipeout can happen suddenly if we get it soon. So if it were to happen suddenly, the initial move will be fast. However, we'll consolidate after that. As people wait, they'll sit on their hands. They're waiting to see, is the damage done? Is it safe for me to get back in? And in everybody sitting on their hands, price goes nowhere. So whichever way it happens, there will be time, in my opinion, for you to make smart decisions. I don't think you have to FOMO into anything if it does happen. So let me have a look at, do you guys have any altcoins that you want me to have a look at? You can leave it in the chat. And really, like, because prices move so much, it's probably not so much about me giving you entries. It's probably more about me just showing you where the liquidity is. I think that might be the smartest thing to do because, you know, if we end up getting pullbacks eventually, the liquidity would be your targets to look for long positions. So hopefully that's what you guys want me to do. Leave a comment now and I'll go through and see what I can see. Oh, wow. You guys have left tons of comments. Thank you so much. What is going on here? Let me have a look. Where's the boss? Who's the boss? It's not me, right? Okay, let me go down. Oh my goodness. You guys are crazy today. Okay, you know what? Let's start with, is this the first day no one's asked for Solana? Nah, Sayed asked for Solana. All right. I'm like, what? That's not normal. Okay, let's have a look at Solana because this is something that I just posted in my Discord actually. And there could be an opportunity on this soon. However, again, whoops, didn't mean that. Again, we have to be careful. I would personally only take this if I saw this opportunity. I would personally only take it as a spot trade because of those funding rates. And this, again, this is the 4-hour time frame for Solana. So yeah, sure, it might break out and trade what you see, number one. Don't worry about funding rates and all that other stuff. Just be aware of it, but trade what you see, number one. And number two, I just think because of those funding rates, it might be a little bit dangerous to be opening new leverage trades right now. But spot is long-term and we're in this part of the cycle where you can be wrong and eventually you'll be right, you know? So it doesn't take the smartest person right now. But what I love about Solana, I'll just tell you what I love about it on the 4-hour time frame, is that we are in this wedge currently. I like the wicks to the bottom of the candles every time we've come to the support of it. And I really do love that this high volume candle right here bounced off the 200 EMA. All of these things, when I'm high time frame trading, they're very good signs to me. At the same time, I have to tell you what I don't like, which may become invalid soon, but I'm going to point it out anyway, is that at the same time as all of this being positive, these candles here are very wicky to the top. So it was a risk to get in prior to now. It's probably a risk that's going to pay off, I think. However, now we have a breakout of the wedge, and this closure, it's got 2 hours to go, but if this closes above the 50 EMA, there's a potential for an entry there. You could even drop down to a smaller time frame and see, maybe if the 1 hour is closing above a key EMA. Let's have a look. So the 1 hour at this point in time is a bit of a worry to me as well. Actually, let me just change my settings on this. So I've got way too many things here that become confusing. I only want to see 1 day high and low. Okay, so yeah, if this 1 hour closes as, say, a bullish candle, it's going to close at the initial high of the day. That's not really where you take a long position. That's like taking a long at resistance. It's not that clever. So with Sol, you probably, you've missed the best entry, but that doesn't mean you've missed any entry. If you're lucky enough, we'll break through the initial high of the day as well as yesterday's high of the day, which is this week right here. And then we'll come back to retest. And that would mean that you could get a pretty good entry at that point, just up to the high of the week initially, reassess the high of the week. The reason why I say it could be good is because let's just say you were lucky enough to get a retest of the initial high of the day. Your stop loss, just depending on whether or not there are any wicks on this retest, so hard for me to tell because the wicks don't exist yet, but your stop loss could just be under any wick that wicked below the initial high of the day, and then your take profit would be back at the high of the week, which is 257, and that could end up being a 6-to-1 risk to reward trade, which is a pretty decent trade. So again, depending on where your stop loss ends up needing to be. So that would be what I would be looking for on Solana, because the higher time frame shows me a wedge potentially breaking out, and the lower time frame shows me that it's looking like it wants to break that initial high of the day, but it hasn't done it yet. So the condition is that it has to do it, okay? What else have we got? Jasmy. Now, Jasmy, we took that trade and we finished it yesterday. Let me see. Where do I have that trade? Jasmy, here. So this was another trade we did in the Discord. Now, again, guys, if you're not in our Discord, it doesn't make any sense why you're not in our Discord, because these are the types of moves that you can get, and they're pretty massive risk to rewards. And it's simple. Just join Bitchinix, link in the description, get your trading fee rebate so it's cheaper, get access to the free side. Like, I'm not going to tell anyone to join a paid membership right now because Black Friday sales ended yesterday. So I assume if you had any interest in getting into our full membership system, you would have done it in the last few days. So don't worry about that. But if you want to at least take your first step and come into the free side, you still get access to a lot of these trades, that a lot of my setups I post in one channel, and you get access to that channel. So this was a trade we took. It was a higher time frame trade. I actually tested my community with this trade because a lot of us are day traders. We're short-term traders. We don't tend to hold trades for longer than 3 days. But I saw this setup and I knew that it was going to be a long time frame trade. And so I wanted to test and see how long you guys would hold it with me. And I think it ended up being, let me see, from here to here, it was a 27-day trade. And a lot of you actually did take and hold that trade. So well done. We're out of it now. We had 3, well, I'm out of it. Probably have bag holders that are still holding it. And if you did, great, because it's still going. But I had my 3 take profits and they hit. Now, when something is a trade for me, that's it. Once it hits my final take profit, I'm done with it. Collect the money, move on, go look for something else. I'm never someone who would look at this and go, oh, but it kept going and I could have made so much more. That's really dangerous for your mindset. It kept going, great, whatever. So, one thing you can do is take 90% profit and leave 10% to let it run, move your stop loss into profit. That's something you could do on a trade. But for me, I just wanted to collect. So I collected. I'm happy with this. Can't tell you what to do now. Would absolutely not enter now. But I will tell you that when the candles go from green in an uptrend to blue, the steam is running out. Now, the steam can run out only temporarily. That's what you need to know. And if it runs out temporarily, it moves into consolidation. or it can just run out. And if it runs out, we move into a retracement. So if you are still holding Jasmine from the community, I would absolutely consider getting ready to take some profit. Have a look at it on lower time frames, start to look for weakness on your lower time frames, and make that decision. But let's zoom